Well, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, and we're reading from Revelation 14 through 20. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and seated on the cloud one like a son of man, with a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, calling with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe." So he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle across the earth, and the earth was reaped. Then another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, the angel who has authority over the fire, and he called with a loud voice to the one who had the sharp sickle, "Put in your sickle and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, for its grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle across the earth and gathered the grape harvest of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood flowed from the winepress as high as a horse's bridle for 1,600 stadia. Okay, the one who sits on the cloud like the Son of Man. That is clearly from Daniel. It comes out of Daniel, the image of we think it's Jesus coming on the clouds of heaven. So that's kind of where he picks up that symbol. And this notion of reaping the earth and reaping the wine, the grapes of the earth, is a kind of a symbol of judgment. It's a symbol of, Babylon has fallen, and now we're going to take the people out of there. The good people are removed, and then the bad people are going to be judged, and that's what this is about. The sickle is all about a symbol of judgment. These two sickles, and the notion of trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored, as they used to sing, is made its way into hymns, and it's made its way into popular imagination. But this description of blood as high as a horse's saddle or bridle, and being, for 1,600 stadia, which is, just think of it as it's a unit of distance, and so think of it as a mile. It may not be a mile, but for that, a huge flowing of blood comes out of this wine press, and so we're. You think, well, there can't ever be that much blood. Well, let me tell you a couple of stories. In Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, I parked one time. I was headed for a service at the Presbyterian Church, and I parked down the street, and I got out of the car, and I was reading a sign on the wall of, I think it was the Methodist Church, but I don't know, some other church. And it said that just after the ladies of the church had finished redoing the parlor furniture and getting the men to whitewash everything fresh and new, the battle took place just after that, and the church was used as a hospital, and the blood was so deep that they had to redo everything afterwards. I think they had a mark on the wall to show how deep. It was several feet deep. They drilled holes in the floor so that it could just drain into the floor below, because they couldn't even walk around. So a lot of blood from people who were wounded. And then you start thinking about the mill that was World War I, where hundreds of thousands of people would rush at each other and just mow each other down with guns. And then the number of the dead was just staggering. Every day, a couple million people died in every battle, and it was It was staggering. And so when you think of that much blood, yeah, it could happen. Movies don't always show that. So we see people getting shot and they fall over, but you don't see people getting blown apart and bleeding out, which is what really happens in war. And so, well, anyway, let's forget all of that stuff. But this is a picture then of the pagans of this Babylon being reaped and being judged in this wine press. Now you put grapes in the wine press and you stomp around on the grapes, barefooted, and then what happens is the juice flows out of the wine press and down some kind of a thing and is collected, and that's how you get the initial liquid to make wine with. And this was a very familiar image for ancient Israel because they had quite an industry of winemaking in ancient Israel, and this was a very much of a known cultural thing. So everybody would say, "Oh yeah, wine press." They know instantly what that looks like and how it is. So so what we have here is a couple pictures of judgment going on. You just got several chapters in the middle here that it's kind of run its course, and that we've had the end, I think, more than once, but now we've got a few chapters of judgment and stuff, and it's not linear. It's just another picture of how it could be. And so this is what John is trying to communicate to us, that there is great judgment that goes on against those who are not sealed in Christ. But we are. So let's rejoice in that and hang on to that, and always be always be aware that we belong to Jesus. Okay. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.